You see, the border issue is not just about troop deployment. It's also about China's coercive tactics, the salami slicing of territory, the PLA's psychological warfare. We just told you about Doklam and how China tried to take it. In 2017, their designs failed, but they've not given up. In fact, China has changed its approach, and it's working on Bhutan now. This week, there was a meeting in Beijing. China and Bhutan have created a technical team, and it's been given an important task, the delimitation of the China-Bhutan boundary. Now, this technical team, it met for the first time this week. And what was the outcome of the meeting? An important decision. China and Bhutan will hold boundary talks. This will be a first since 2016. It hasn't happened in the last 7 years. And why is it significant? Because this could have direct and deep repercussions for India. Time for a backstory. Direct negotiations between China and Bhutan are rare, especially when it comes to the boundary. Their first meeting on this was in the year 1984. That's when they held their first round of boundary talks. That's what they call it, boundary talks. So far, they've had 24 rounds of these talks. The last one happened in 2016. They did not speak after that. 1 year later, there was a standoff in Doklam. It further ruled out any scope for negotiation. This is the region we are talking about, the Doklam area. It is spread over less than 100 square kilometers. Both China and Bhutan claim this region. Both say it's their territory. And this is critical for India. It's strategically very, very important for India. There is a tri-junction at Doklam, a point where the borders of India, China and Bhutan meet. That is a tri-junction. And the 2017 standoff happened at this very same tri-junction. Look at the location of the tri-junction. It overlooks a small sector, an area called the Chicken's Neck. This is India's only link to the northeast, the Chicken's Neck. So securing the Chicken's Neck is very important to retaining a land link to the northeast. And that's why India is wary of Chinese presence here. If China takes control of Doklam, it gets a vantage point. It can potentially cut off India's access to the northeast. So in 2017, when China tried to take Doklam, India resisted. It stepped up for Bhutan. India sent its troops to Doklam. They pushed back the PLA. There was a standoff. The Chinese eventually moved back, but they never gave up their plans. They maintained pressure on Bhutan, and over the years, they've built on their claims. China now claims a much bigger territory of Bhutan. Earlier, it was just Doklam, but now China also claims an area called Beul Khen Pajong. This is in the north, and this is a sacred Buddhist area. Also, the Sakteng Wildlife Sanctuary. Earlier, this sanctuary was not on Beijing's list of demands, but in 2020, it appeared as part of the territories China claims. With this expanded list, China is pursuing Bhutan for direct negotiations. Yesterday, a statement was released. It said China and Bhutan will expedite boundary negotiations. They have a roadmap for talks, and frankly, this should not come as a surprise because Bhutan has been involved in talks for a while with the Chinese. And New Delhi has been skeptical. Earlier this year, the situation led to a row. Bhutan's Prime Minister gave an interview. His name is Lotte Schering. He spoke to a Belgian newspaper and he spoke about the border situation. He suggested that Bhutan can demarcate some boundaries alone. Let me quote from what he said. Last month, a Bhutanese delegation visited China, and we are now awaiting the arrival of a Chinese technical team in Bhutan. After 1 or 2 more meetings, we will probably be able to draw a line. And what did the Bhutanese Prime Minister say about Doklam? He did not deny that India has a role to play there. Again, I have a quote. It is not up to Bhutan alone to fix the problem. There are three of us. There is no big or small country. All are 3 equal countries, each counting for 1/3. Now, Bhutan and China are discussing the border. They're expediting the negotiation. Where does it leave India? Will India be in the room when Doklam comes up? Given China's record, you can't be sure. Their intentions are questionable. By claiming sacred Buddhist areas, Beijing is attacking at the heart of Bhutan's culture and identity. This dialogue is not about solving the border issue. It is about legitimizing China's sweeping claims on Bhutan's territories. And while Bhutan is a free country, free to talk to whoever they want to, they should approach this conversation with caution. As for New Delhi, this is not looking good.